the Galactic Bake-Off. In a galaxy where food is practically magic, no one expected humans to show up with barbecue. Captain Jenna Baker and her misfit crew crashed the prestigious Galactic Bake-Off, armed with ribs, burritos, and an illegal hot sauce so spicy it could cause a galactic incident. Competing against floating soufflés and emotion-bending pastries, they bring the one thing the galaxy never saw coming: unapologetic flavor. As alien chefs panic and judges start levitating, the humans prove that sometimes all you need to win is meat, fire, and a dash of chaos. Chapter 1: The Invitation. Jenna Baker reclined in the captain's chair of the Saucy Mare, her trusty spaceship, sipping a lukewarm cup of coffee as they drifted through the black expanse of space. It had been a quiet month, all things considered. No unexpected alien invasions, no malfunctions in the food replicator, thank God, and most importantly, no more complaints from Timmy about space motion sickness. Sure, the kid still looked green, but at least he wasn't projectile green anymore. It was shaping up to be a decent day. That is, until the message came through. Captain, we've got an incoming transmission from the Galactic Council. Kara, the ship's resident food scientist and perpetual buzzkill, announced, her tone laced with a hint of excitement. It's marked urgent. Jenna raised an eyebrow. The Galactic Council? Urgent. The last time she'd heard from those bureaucratic blowhards was when they sent a strongly worded letter about humans leaving empty beer cans on a space station. Apparently, not everyone in the galaxy appreciated Earth's finest lagers. All right, patch it through, Jenna sighed, fully expecting another lecture on the importance of space recycling or some other nonsense. Instead, the holographic projector flickered to life, and the image of a very posh-looking alien, with more tentacles than was strictly necessary, appeared. Its voice, as smooth as oiled silk, filled the bridge. Greetings, Captain Jenna Baker of Earth. On behalf of the esteemed Galactic Culinary Federation, it is my honor to inform you that humanity has been selected to participate in the most prestigious event in the galaxy, the Galactic Bake-Off. Jenna stared blankly at the projection, then at Kara, and finally at Mac, her grizzled ex-military survivalist and current ship's grill master, who was busy trying to hide the fact he'd been chewing on a toothpick the whole time. What the hell is a Galactic Bake-Off? Jenna asked, scratching her head. Kara's eyes lit up like she'd just been offered a lifetime supply of free lab equipment. The Galactic Bake-Off. It's only the biggest, most important culinary competition in the known universe. I mean, species from every corner of the galaxy compete. The culinary skills on display are supposed to be... I didn't ask for the brochure, Kara, Jenna cut in. Why the hell would we get invited? The alien on the hologram seemed to sense her confusion, because it resumed speaking with a slimy smile. As the youngest species in the galaxy, the Federation is very curious to see what your culinary traditions entail. We have heard rumors. The alien's tentacles waved in what was probably supposed to be a polite gesture, but it mostly just looked like it was trying to air dry itself. We expect great things. Jenna could practically hear the underlying message. We expect your food to be garbage, but we could use the laughs. The transmission ended with a flourish, leaving the crew in stunned silence. Then Max snorted. They think we're a joke, Cap. Probably invited us just to see us humiliate ourselves in front of those fancy alien chefs. I say we skip it. Timmy, the perpetually enthusiastic intern, suddenly piped up, his face lighting up. Wait. What if this is our chance? What if we show them that Earth food is actually amazing? Jenna squinted at him. Timmy, our culinary expertise begins and ends with whatever we can put on a grill or deep fry. Mac nodded in agreement. I mean, I could grill a steak that'd knock the antennae off one of those snooty alien judges, but do you really think they'd appreciate good old-fashioned barbecue? Timmy's face fell slightly, but Kara was nodding thoughtfully. Actually, it could work. Hear me out. If all the aliens are using their fancy molecular gastronomy and psionic spices, maybe they've never experienced something simple, something with real flavor. Jenna raised an eyebrow. Are you suggesting we win an intergalactic cooking competition with BBQ? Kara shrugged. Why not? Everyone knows alien food looks pretty, but it's all flash. They don't use any spices. Everything's about presentation. But BBQ? It's all about the taste. Before anyone could argue further, Timmy clutched his stomach, groaning. Ugh. Speaking of alien food, I think that crystalline fusion salad I had earlier is trying to kill me. It was like eating a glitter bomb. Max snorted. Told you not to eat that crap. Never trust a dish that sparkles more than it smells. You should have stuck with the rations. No kidding, Jenna muttered, grimacing as she remembered the appetizers they'd sampled earlier at the Galactic Culinary Expo. She thought she was being adventurous, trying an alien dish made from luminous bioplasm, but it had tasted like someone distilled pure boredom into a jelly cube. Every bite felt like she was chewing on edible light, except it tasted like nothing. There wasn't even salt. Who makes food without salt? All right, screw it, Jenna said, pushing herself up from her chair. Let's do it. Let's go to this bake-off and show these aliens what real food is. If they want to laugh at us, fine. But I'm not sitting around while they eat glowing blobs of flavorless goo and think they're better than us. Damn right, Matt grunted, cracking his knuckles. I'll grill them a steak so juicy they'll cry tears of pure respect. Kara beamed. I'll work on refining the sauces. We've got some spices in storage that should blow their minds, literally in some cases. Timmy, pale and clutching his stomach, still managed to raise a fist weakly. Go Earth! Jenna rolled her eyes, but couldn't help smiling. All right, team, gear up. We've got a galaxy to feed. And Timmy, stop eating glowing stuff. That's a rule now. With that, the saucy mare changed course, heading straight for the Galactic Bake-Off. A few days later, the crew arrived at the competition venue, a sprawling space station that looked like it had been designed by someone who thought glowing things made food taste better. As they stepped off their ship and into the competition arena, the scent of alien spices, or lack thereof, hung in the air. Alien competitors, all dressed in pristine culinary whites, moved with grace and precision. Every species had their own workstation, filled with ingredients that were, well, bizarre. Jenna's eyes narrowed as she watched an alien chef levitate a piece of what looked like edible fog onto a plate. It glowed faintly, but there was no smell. No spices, no smell, no soul. We are so screwed, Mac muttered, arms crossed as he surveyed the scene. This is a damn art show, not a kitchen. Kara, however, was unfazed. She adjusted her lab goggles and smiled. That's where they're wrong. This isn't about art. It's about flavor, and I don't care how many light beams they cook with. Nothing beats the taste of Earth BBQ. Timmy, looking a little less green now, pointed nervously at one of the competitors. Is that chef? Cooking with their mind? Jenna followed his gaze to a creature with a bulbous head and too many eyes, who was stirring what appeared to be a pot of sentient soup, telepathically. Yup, psionic cooking, Kara explained, like it was the most normal thing in the world. They cook by thinking at their food. Jenna rubbed her temples. Fantastic. We're up against alien chefs with telekinesis and molecular gastronomy, but you know what? They've never had BBQ ribs. Mac grinned. Damn right, let's fire up the grill. With their minds set and stomachs rumbling, the humans accepted the invitation. They didn't have molecular gastronomy, psionic spices, or edible light, but they had fire, meat, and a healthy disregard for alien pretension. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. Chapter 2, First Round, The Elemental Appetizer. The competition arena was buzzing with energy. The Galactic Bake-Off was about to begin, and contestants from every corner of the galaxy were busy prepping their stations. The aliens moved with a graceful efficiency that made everything seem effortless. At one table, a chef from the planet Zalthor was juggling glowing orbs of plasma, while another from the icy moon of Glacier was sculpting an ice sculpture that changed shape depending on who was looking at it. Jenna Baker, captain of the Saucy Mare, stood at the human station, staring at the competition with a mixture of awe and mild panic. Okay, so just to be clear, Jenna said, adjusting her apron that said BBQ Queen across the front, these guys are making appetizers out of fire, water, air, and earth, and we're going with kebabs? Not just any kebabs, Mac grunted as he flipped a skewer of meat over the grill. We're talking about meat on a stick, cooked over a fire. Primitive? Sure, but effective. Kara, who was methodically mixing a bowl of potato salad, nodded enthusiastically. Look, they're all about elegance and flair, but they don't know flavor, no seasoning, no spices. We're bringing them a full flavor smackdown with good old-fashioned BBQ. That's our secret weapon. Timmy, their ever-eager intern, was busy arranging the condiments on the table like they were the most important part of the whole operation. Do you think we should add little toothpicks with flags on them? I think it'll give the judges something to hold on to. You know, diplomatic presentation. Jenna rolled her eyes but couldn't help smiling. Timmy, I'm pretty sure they've never seen a potato before, let alone one dressed up like it's going to the United Nations. Just keep stirring. The timer for the first round, the elemental appetizer, flashed across the arena, and a booming voice filled the room. Shaw, competitors! Begin your presentations for the judges. The humans turned their attention to the alien chefs, who one by one were unveiling their dishes. Each display was more ridiculous than the last. The first chef, a sleek, silver-skinned creature from the planet Aquarion, presented a dish of floating water spheres that shimmered like liquid diamonds. As one judge took a bite, the sphere evaporated on their tongue, leaving behind the scent of a forgotten ocean, lost in time. The judges murmured in appreciation. Are we sure this is a food competition? Jenna muttered. That's just a fancy water balloon. Next up was a chef from Pyraxia, a planet known for its volcanic landscapes. The chefs snapped their fingers, and a dish made entirely of fire appeared, crackling and dancing on the plate like a miniature bonfire. The judges leaned in, inhaling the fiery aroma, and one judge's eyes rolled back in ecstasy. Okay, that's just showing off, Mac grumbled. The third chef, a feathered being from the air planet Cirrus, presented a plate with nothing on it. Or at least, that's what it looked like. But as the judges leaned in closer, tiny sparks of light flickered above the plate, slowly forming into a floating appetizer that hovered mid-air like a miniature star. It pulsed softly, releasing a sweet, ethereal aroma. Timmy, watching from the sidelines, whispered, Is it weird that I want to catch that star and put it in a jar? Jenna sighed. We're doomed. Finally, it was the humans' turn. Mac, unfazed by the magical nonsense surrounding them, confidently lifted the lid of their grill, releasing a cloud of smoky barbecue goodness. The skewers, stacked with perfectly charred pieces of beef, chicken, and vegetables, gleamed under the arena lights. The rich scent of BBQ sauce, tangy, smoky, and just a little spicy, filled the air. Next to the skewers sat a humble bowl of potato salad, sprinkled with bacon bits and a secret blend of spices that Kara had concocted. Jenna stepped forward, trying her best to channel her inner cooking show host. We present Earth's finest contribution to the culinary galaxy, BBQ skewers with a side of potato salad. You know, to balance the fire. The alien judges, 3 stern-looking beings with a combined total of 18 eyes and 32 appendages, stared at the skewers with thinly veiled disdain. One judge, a particularly grumpy-looking cephalovian with tentacles for arms, muttered something that translated roughly to, What is this? Rustic nonsense? The head judge, a tall, willowy creature with skin that shimmered like liquid gold, cautiously reached for a skewer. He sniffed it once, twice, then reluctantly took a bite. There was a moment of silence, and then the reaction. The judge's eyes went wide, wider than Jenna thought biologically possible. A single tear slid down his shimmering cheek. His hand trembled as he slowly placed the skewer back on the plate. What is this flavor? He whispered, his voice quivering as if he had just experienced some profound cosmic revelation. Another judge, a round creature resembling a sentient puffball, cautiously took a bite. As soon as the smoky flavor hit its tongue, its entire body puffed up and floated several feet into the air, wobbling as if it had lost all control of its senses. It's primal, it squeaked, its voice echoing through the arena. The third judge, the cephalovian, stared at the skewer in his tentacled grasp with deep suspicion. I do not understand, he muttered as he took a bite. Instantly, his tentacles spasmed, dropping the skewer. His expression shifted, softening, as if centuries of pent-up stress and anger had just melted away. This reminds me of home, a time before politics, before bureaucracy. He blinked rapidly, wiping away an unexpected tear with one of his appendages. How is this possible? Jenna exchanged a glance with Mac, who was trying and failing not to smirk. It's the BBQ sauce, Mac said, shrugging. And love. Can't forget the love. The audience, previously skeptical of the humans' primitive methods, began to murmur. The rich scent of the BBQ had spread through the arena, drawing curious glances from other competitors. Several alien chefs, who had previously been preoccupied with their glowing orbs and levitating appetizers, were now sneaking glances at the humans' table, sniffing the air like they were trying to remember the last time they'd eaten something with actual flavor. As the judges struggled to regain their composure, the head judge turned to the humans, still clearly in shock. This dish has overwhelmed our senses. Its simplicity is deceptive. The power of the fire you have captured, the depth of the flavor, it is unlike anything we have experienced. Jenna raised an eyebrow. That's what we were going for. The judges huddled together, whispering in a flurry of alien languages. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they turned back to the humans. We declare Earth the winner of the first round, the head judge announced, still looking like he couldn't quite believe it. Your mastery of fire and flavor has bested even the most advanced molecular techniques. There was a stunned silence in the arena, and then chaos erupted. Alien chefs from every station began to argue loudly, tentacles waving, wings flapping, and voices screeching in protest. One chef, whose dish had evaporated into a nostalgic mist moments earlier, was gesticulating wildly at his floating soup pot, as if to say, "How did this lose to skewers?" Jenna couldn't help but grin. She crossed her arms and leaned back, watching the chaos unfold. Well, that went better than expected. Kara, smirking, offered Jenna a high five. Told you BBQ was the secret weapon, Mac chuckled, flipping another skewer. It's not just about fancy tricks. Sometimes it's about good old-fashioned taste. Timmy, still wide-eyed with disbelief, finally managed to speak. I can't believe we won. Jenna shrugged. Never underestimate the power of fire and meat, Timmy. Never. As the alien judges tried to restore order, Jenna and her crew basked in the glory of their unexpected victory. The galaxy's culinary elite had been bested by Earth's simplest, most delicious weapon, BBQ. The first round was theirs, and it looked like the galaxy was starting to realize that when it came to food, humans were no joke. This bake-off was about to get a whole lot more interesting. Chapter 3, Second Round, Molecular Madness. The tension in the arena was thick enough to slice with a knife, and probably some sort of alien plasma cutter if you had one handy. The first round had been a shocker for everyone, especially the human crew of the Saucy Mare. They had stunned the galaxy's top chefs with their humble barbecue skewers and potato salad, winning with a dish that would have been at home in a backyard cookout on Earth. But now it was time for the second round. Molecular gastronomy and psionic cooking. Jenna Baker paced back and forth in front of their cooking station, glancing nervously at the alien chefs around them. The arena had been transformed into a high-tech wonderland, with shimmering force fields, gravity manipulators, and psionic energy waves buzzing through the air. The alien chefs were already deep into their preparations, crafting food that looked more like sorcery than cooking. Kara, their resident food scientist, was furiously flipping through the pages of an ancient Earth cookbook. So, let me get this straight, she muttered, her brow furrowed. We're supposed to make food that changes form and messes with your emotions while you eat it? Jenna sighed. That's about the gist of it. Timmy, the ever-enthusiastic intern, was staring in awe at one of the alien chefs nearby. That guy over there is making a soufflé that levitates and sings. I think it's serenading the judges. Should we be worried? Jenna followed Timmy's gaze to a creature with 6 arms, all stirring different pots telekinetically. It was humming a low, soothing tune while shaping a pile of what looked like glowing purple mist into something resembling a soufflé. It sparkled and indeed sang softly as it floated in the air. Yeah, we should be very worried, Jenna muttered. They're not cooking food, they're conjuring magic. Mac, standing next to the grill with his arms crossed, grunted. This whole thing is ridiculous. I don't know how we're supposed to compete with food that can sing. What do they expect us to do, pull out a dancing brisket? Jenna smirked. I'd pay to see that. Mac shot her a look. I'm serious, Cap. We're in way over our heads. Relax, we've got something they don't, Jenna said with a wink. What, common sense? Mac snorted. Jenna smiled. Ribs. Mac's eyebrows shot up. Ribs? That's right. We're gonna keep it simple. We can't do molecular gastronomy or psionic flavor explosions, but we can slow cook a rack of ribs until it falls off the bone. And with Kara's help, we'll add a little psionic spice, just enough to give it that extra something. Mac grinned. Now that I can get behind. Kara raised an eyebrow. Psionic cooking is tricky. I mean, we've barely touched the surface of this stuff. One wrong move, and we could make the judges hallucinate their worst fears. Do we really want to risk it? Jenna shrugged. As long as they're hallucinating that the ribs are the best thing they've ever eaten, I'm fine with it. With the plan settled, the humans got to work. Mac manned the grill, preparing the ribs with a secret spice rub he'd concocted years ago in a military field kitchen, an environment where food typically meant whatever you could shoot and cook over an open flame. Kara, meanwhile, was tinkering with the psionic spice blend, carefully measuring out tiny amounts to infuse into the BBQ sauce. The idea was simple: create a sauce that would enhance the emotional experience of eating, making each bite feel like a warm hug from the universe. As the ribs slow cooked over the grill, filling the air with the mouthwatering scent of smoky goodness, the human team glanced nervously at their competitors. The alien chefs were in full swing, performing culinary acrobatics that defied the laws of physics and common sense. One chef from the planet Varloth presented a dish that shifted from solid to liquid mid-bite, with each phase releasing a new burst of flavor that made the judges' eyes roll back in their heads. Another alien from the planet Cylon had crafted tiny orbs filled with psionic energy. When eaten, they exploded in the mouth, releasing waves of euphoria and nostalgia so intense that one judge openly wept, clutching the table as if he'd just seen his entire life flash before his eyes. Timmy, standing at the edge of the human station, whispered, "Maybe we should have gone with the singing soufflé." Jenna shook her head. "Nope, we're doing this the human way. Slow, steady, and packed with flavor." Finally, the ribs were ready. Mac pulled them off the grill, the meat tender and glistening with Kara's psionic-infused BBQ sauce. The scent alone seemed to waft across the arena, catching the attention of the other competitors. A few alien chefs even paused mid-incantation to sniff the air, their expressions confused, as if they couldn't understand how something so basic could smell so good. Jenna stepped forward, carrying the platter of ribs with all the confidence of a chef presenting a Michelin star dish. "Judges, we present Earth's finest comfort food, slow-cooked ribs with a side of psionic-enhanced BBQ sauce. We call it Ribs of the Soul." The judges, still recovering from their emotional journey with the psionic orbs, eyed the ribs warily. The head judge, a tall, spindly creature with eyes that glowed faintly purple, tentatively picked up a rib. There was a brief pause as the judge examined the dish, clearly confused by the simplicity of it all. Then, with a resigned sigh, the judge took a bite. What followed could only be described as utter transcendence. The judge's eyes widened, glowing even brighter as the smoky, tender meat melted in his mouth. A faint tremor passed through his body, and he let out a soft gasp. It's like being wrapped in a warm blanket on a cold night," the judge murmured. It's like a memory of home." Another judge, a plump, pink-skinned alien with 4 arms, took a bite and immediately hugged himself, a look of pure bliss on his face. It's like a hug for my soul," he whispered, tears welling up in his eyes. The third judge, a stoic, crystalline creature, took one bite and then froze, his expression unreadable. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then, in a voice that sounded like 2 rocks grinding together, he simply said, "I feel whole." The human team exchanged triumphant looks. They had done it. They had won over the judges with the sheer emotional power of BBQ. The aliens, for all their molecular tricks and psionic wizardry, had nothing that could compete with the primal satisfaction of a perfectly cooked rib. But then, just as Jenna was about to start celebrating, the head judge cleared his throat, or whatever passed for a throat in his species. This is remarkable," the judge said slowly, wiping a tear from his glowing eye. "But," Jenna's heart sank. "Oh no, here it comes. This competition is about molecular gastronomy and psionic cooking," the judge continued, his voice heavy with regret. "While the emotional impact of your dish is profound, the technical psionic component is lacking." Jenna blinked. "Lacking?" The judge sighed. "The psionic infusion in the sauce is minimal at best. The effect was achieved more through the flavor than through psionic manipulation, and unfortunately, that does not meet the criteria for this round." The other judges nodded solemnly, though they still looked like they wanted to devour the rest of the ribs on the platter. "So, we're disqualified?" Jenna asked, incredulous. The head judge nodded. You will not win this round. However, we commend you for the emotional experience. Jenna clenched her fists, trying to keep her cool. Mac, on the other hand, was fuming. Are you kidding me? We just gave you a spiritual journey through BBQ, and you're disqualifying us for not using enough psionic spice? One of the alien chefs, a smug-looking creature with tentacles for arms, chuckled from his station. Tough luck, humans. Maybe next time try a little less. Fire and a little more magic. Jenna shot him a glare. Oh, we'll give you magic. You just wait. As the round ended and the alien chefs celebrated their victory, the human crew gathered at their station, frustration bubbling under the surface. They had been robbed, but they weren't about to give up. Jenna crossed her arms, her eyes narrowing as she looked at the smug alien competitors. All right, fine. They want psionic cooking? We'll give them psionic cooking, but we're doing it our way. Mac grinned, cracking his knuckles. Next round's gonna be fun. Kara smirked. Let's make sure they never forget the taste of human cooking. Timmy, still clutching a half-eaten rib, nodded vigorously. Go Earth! The second round may have been a loss, but the humans weren't beaten. They were just getting started. Chapter 4, Psionic Flavors, Subverting Expectations. Jenna Baker leaned on the counter of the Saucy Mare's cooking station, trying her best not to let the smell of psionic spices give her a migraine. The next round of the Galactic Bake-Off was in full swing, and the arena was bathed in an eerie glow as alien chefs meditated, hovering slightly above the ground, their third or fifth or 19th eyes glowing as they infused their dishes with pure emotion. Psionic cooking was supposed to be the pinnacle of culinary art. Alien chefs didn't just cook with ingredients, they cooked with their feelings. You wanted a taste of nostalgia? The chef had to remember their childhood for a few hours while stirring. You wanted excitement? The chef had to imagine skydiving off a volcano or narrowly avoiding getting eaten by some galactic predator. It was like cooking with therapy. Jenna's crew? Yeah, they had no idea what they were doing. Okay, let's go over this one more time, Jenna said, rubbing her temples. We need to cook something that reacts to people's emotions. So we have to cook with emotions. Mac, holding a slab of steak, looked as baffled as ever. What does that even mean? I'm not exactly known for my feelings. Timmy, who was currently mixing a bowl of mashed potatoes, chimed in helpfully. I'm feeling kind of hungry. Does that count? Kara, the one human on the team who actually had a clue about science, was staring at a bottle of psionic spices like it might explode at any moment. No, it doesn't count, Timmy. Psionic cooking is about emotional infusion. You're supposed to channel your inner feelings into the dish to make it taste. I don't know, like soul or something. Mac raised an eyebrow and looked at the steak in his hands. So, what? I'm supposed to feel something while grilling this? Preferably not rage, Jenna muttered. Though if it ends up making the steak taste like a breakup, that might be interesting. The alien chefs, meanwhile, were performing what could only be described as culinary gymnastics. One chef from the planet Zenthrax was gently levitating a soup with her mind, the broth glowing faintly as it shifted from blue to pink to purple, apparently matching her mood. Another chef, a translucent blob with 6 arms, was infusing an entire cake with feelings of unrequited love. The cake wept softly as it baked. Jenna glanced at their station's pitiful attempt at psionic cooking. A half-cooked steak, some mashed potatoes, and a bottle of psionic spice that no one had dared open yet. We're so screwed, she muttered. Come on, Cap, Max said, patting the steak like it was an old friend. We just need to infuse some feelings into this thing. I'll try thinking about something emotional while I cook. Maybe the time I lost my pet turtle when I was 6. Jenna stared at him. You had a pet turtle? Yeah, his name was Speedy. Jenna pinched the bridge of her nose. Right? This is definitely going to work. They watched as Mac placed the steak on the grill, concentrating so hard you'd think he was trying to mentally move the thing with his mind. The scent of grilled meat filled the air, which was promising, but then things started to go wrong. Very wrong. The steak, instead of cooking to a tender perfection, began to harden. Slowly at first, then rapidly, turning from juicy beef to what could only be described as a slab of cement. Mac poked it with his spatula. It didn't budge. Is it supposed to do that? Timmy asked, nervously backing away. Mac tapped the steak again. A metallic clang echoed through the arena. The judges glanced over, curious. Yeah, okay, Mac admitted, frowning. This, this might be bad. Jenna stared at the steak in disbelief. Mac, did you just turn that steak into a brick? Mac sighed. It's the emotional infusion, Cap. I think I overdid it. Maybe I was too focused on losing Speedy. That's not how grief works, Mac. Meanwhile, at the other end of the table, Timmy was working on his own disaster. He had been tasked with adding a pinch of happiness spice to the mashed potatoes. Seemed simple enough. What could go wrong with a little joy-infused food? Everything. That's what. Timmy had barely sprinkled a few granules of the spice into the bowl when a puff of yellow smoke exploded from the mixture, filling the air with a smell that could only be described as aggressive mustard. The cloud expanded rapidly, engulfing their entire cooking station and spilling into the audience. Guys, Timmy began, as the yellow cloud crept toward the alien judges. The next few moments were chaos. The audience started coughing and wheezing as the spice gas spread. One judge, a floating orb with psychic powers, turned a deep shade of blue as it tried to avoid the cloud, but failed. Another, a creature with tentacle-like appendages, was flailing wildly as the mustard gas assaulted their senses. In the middle of the coughing fit, Jenna waved her arms, trying to clear the air. Okay, Timmy, maybe happiness is a little too intense for this crowd. Timmy looked mortified. I just wanted them to be happy. Well, they're definitely not happy now, Jenna snapped, waving the gas away from her face. As the chaos subsided, the human team found themselves standing in front of a grill-turned-brick factory and a bowl of mashed potatoes that had nearly caused an international mustard incident. It was not ideal. The alien chefs, smug as ever, were already presenting their dishes. One by one, they unveiled culinary masterpieces that not only looked exquisite, but adapted to the emotions of the judges. A floating mousse that made the judges feel euphoric, a soup that made them reminisce about their childhoods, a pastry that, according to one judge, made them question the meaning of life, in a good way. Jenna sighed. All right, Plan B. Which is? Mac asked, eyeing his cement steak. We do what we do best. Flavor. We've got a stash of burrito ingredients. Let's make something so delicious they forget about all this psionic nonsense. Timmy blinked. A burrito? In a psionic cooking round? Exactly, Jenna said with a grin. Sometimes you don't need fancy psychic spices. You just need a burrito stuffed with grilled meat, beans, and cheese. It won't sing or float, but it'll taste damn good. The team quickly scrambled to assemble the burritos, wrapping the warm grilled meat in tortillas and topping them with cheese, beans, and a hint of salsa. No psionic manipulation, no emotions, just good old-fashioned cooking. As they plated the psychic burrito, the judges approached, still wiping mustard gas tears from their eyes. The human team presented the dish with as much confidence as they could muster, given the circumstances. Jenna smiled brightly. We present to you the psychic burrito. It may not levitate or mess with your mind, but it's got flavor that'll hit you right in the feels. In a good way. The judges looked skeptical, but one by one, they took a bite. And then, something strange happened. The glowing-eyed head judge took a second bite, then a third, his expression softening with each chew. The orb-like judge, who had been floating angrily moments before, sank slowly back into his seat, a look of pure bliss on his face. The tentacled judge sighed contentedly, his appendages going limp as he cradled the burrito like a cherished memory. This, the head judge whispered, staring at the burrito in his hand. This is comfort, pure comfort. It's like a warm blanket for the soul. Jenna exchanged a look with her team. They had done it again. Despite having zero psionic involvement, the burrito had somehow hit the emotional sweet spot. The audience murmured in confusion. How could a burrito, something so simple, have such an impact? The head judge cleared his throat. While this dish does not meet the technical requirements of psionic cooking, I cannot deny its emotional effect. It is not the winner, but it is deeply satisfying. The human team grinned. They hadn't won the round, but they had once again left a mark on the galaxy's finest culinary minds. As the alien chefs smugly accepted their trophies for most technically proficient psionic dish, Jenna leaned over to Mac and whispered, "We're not here to win their game. We're here to make them crave human food." Mac chuckled. watching as one of the alien judges snuck an extra burrito into their pocket. Looks like we're doing a pretty damn good job of that. With the round over and the humans narrowly escaping complete humiliation, one thing was clear. No matter how many floating soufflés and psionic flavor bombs the aliens could produce, they couldn't compete with the simple, powerful magic of a well-made burrito. The final round was coming, and Jenna was more determined than ever to prove that, when it came to food, Earth was a force to be reckoned with. Chapter 5, the grand finale, the taste of chaos. The atmosphere in the Galactic Bake-Off arena was electric. After several rounds of weird psionic cooking, alien culinary magic, and, of course, the humans' surprising triumphs in the flavor department, it had all come down to this, the grand finale. This was the round that would determine who would be crowned the galaxy's top chefs, and everyone in the arena was buzzing with anticipation. The final challenge? Create a dish that embodied the core essence of your species. For the alien chefs, this meant pulling out all the stops. The competitors were already hard at work on their final masterpieces. At one station, a floating gelatinous chef from the planet Glimnox was assembling what looked like a quantum soufflé, each layer existing in multiple states of matter simultaneously. The soufflé flickered in and out of reality like a dessert caught between dimensions. Next to them, an insectoid chef was crafting what could only be described as a glowing pastry that, when eaten, allegedly allowed you to see your past lives. One of the judges had already taken a test bite and was currently mumbling something about being a tree in a previous existence. The stakes were high. Everyone expected the humans to flop spectacularly. After all, they were up against dishes that could transcend time and space. The entire galactic culinary elite watched the human station with thinly veiled amusement. Meanwhile, at the Saucy Mare station, Jenna Baker stared at the chaos around them, arms crossed, wearing a look of fierce determination. "All right, team, here's the plan," she said, her voice low and serious. "We're not going to win on technique, and we're definitely not winning on psionic soufflés or past life pastries." Max snorted. "No kidding. What the hell are we even supposed to do? Cook a steak that opens a wormhole to the future?" Jenna grinned. "Nope. We're going to do something they've never seen before. Something so quintessentially human, it'll knock them on their metaphorical butts." Kara, ever the practical one, raised an eyebrow. "What's the plan, Jenna? We're going to need more than just flavor to win this." Jenna's grin widened. "We're throwing an Earth-style tailgate party. Full-blown barbecue grills, kegs of beer, and get this, a mega burger." Timmy blinked. Mega burger? Is that like a big burger?" "Not just any burger," Jenna said, eyes gleaming with mad brilliance. "The biggest burger. 5 kinds of meat, layers of cheese, bacon, sauces, and, just for fun, an edible flag of Earth on top." The team stared at her, and slowly, a collective grin spread across their faces. "I like it," Max said, already firing up the barbecue grills. "I like it a lot." They wasted no time. Mac expertly manned the grills, the scent of sizzling meats filling the arena as kegs of beer were tapped and music blared from portable speakers. Kara meticulously stacked the layers of the mega burger, each layer more ridiculous than the last. Beef, chicken, pork, bison, and, because why not, venison. Cheese oozed between the layers, and crispy bacon was piled high like a crown. Timmy was in charge of setting up a makeshift space football game in front of their station, complete with a mini goalpost made from spatulas. Alien onlookers were confused, then intrigued, as they watched the humans throw a football around while their gargantuan burger took shape. "Jenna," Mac called over the sound of crackling grills, "you think we're pushing this a bit too far?" Jenna, standing proudly by the towering mega burger, shook her head. "We're not pushing it far enough. And just wait, I've got one more trick up my sleeve." She reached into a small, sealed container she had kept hidden behind the counter. Inside was a bottle of hot sauce so dangerous it had been smuggled across 3 star systems and nearly confiscated by the Galactic Council. It was called Hellfire Vortex, a sauce so potent it made ghost peppers look like breath mints. "Whoa, Jenna? Are you sure about that?" Mac asked, eyeing the sauce like it might explode at any moment. "Positive. This is our secret weapon. 1 drop of this stuff will make them see stars, literally." Timmy peeked over her shoulder, eyes wide. "Is it legal?" Jenna shrugged. "Let's just say There are no rules against it. Technically, the mega burger was nearly complete, and it stood at an absurd height, wobbling slightly under the sheer weight of meat and cheese. The edible earth flag was planted proudly on top. Jenna carefully poured a few drops of Hellfire Vortex onto the top bun, the sauce glistening ominously. "All right, let's do this," Jenna said as they wheeled the mega burger forward, music blaring, football flying, and the scent of barbecue smoke swirling through the arena. The alien chefs were already presenting their dishes. The quantum soufflé flickered in and out of existence, and the glowing pastry looked like it might actually start floating on its own. The judges were clearly impressed, but then it was the humans' turn. Jenna and her team stood proudly next to their mega burger, which dwarfed everything else in the competition. The judges, already skeptical, approached the monstrosity with caution. The head judge, a tall, elegant alien with translucent skin, raised an eyebrow, or whatever equivalent they had. "This embodies the essence of your species?" Jenna grinned. "You bet it does. Nothing says human like a barbecue tailgate party. And this here? The Mega Burger? It's the pinnacle of human indulgence. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, bacon, and of course, a special sauce that'll blow your mind." The judges exchanged glances, clearly unimpressed. But as protocol dictated, they had to take a bite. The first judge, with some difficulty, lifted the top layer of the burger and took a hesitant bite. And that's when things got interesting. The moment the judges' taste buds made contact with the Hellfire Vortex sauce, their eyes widened. Their entire body began to glow, flickering like a faulty neon sign. One by one, the other judges took their bites, and the results were explosive. The second judge, a floating orb, suddenly shot up into the air, spinning wildly as psionic shockwaves rippled out from their core. The third judge, a gelatinous blob, began to vibrate violently before splitting into multiple smaller blobs, each of which looked completely bewildered. The head judge, who had remained composed through every round, clutched the table as they began to levitate off the ground. Jenna watched in amazement as the Hellfire Vortex sauce did its work, sending the judges on what could only be described as a cosmic journey. One of the judges muttered something about seeing the beginning of time, while another began singing a song in a language no one had ever heard before. Is that good?" Timmy asked, wide-eyed. "I think they're transcending reality," Kara said, equally stunned. The audience was in chaos. Some aliens were gasping in horror, while others looked genuinely curious. The alien chefs were livid, accusing the humans of reckless cooking, but their outrage was drowned out by the sheer spectacle of the floating, glowing, and spinning judges. After what felt like an eternity, the judges finally floated back down, some with tears in their eyes, others just staring blankly into space as if they had witnessed the universe's deepest secrets. The head judge, still slightly levitating, cleared their throat. This dish is unlike anything we have ever experienced. It is dangerous, it is chaotic, but it is also profound." Jenna couldn't help but smirk. "So we win?" The head judge nodded slowly, still hovering a few inches off the ground. "You win. Humanity's barbecue has redefined what food can be. It is the most emotionally impactful and memorable dish in the competition's history." The alien chefs erupted in outrage, but the judges were too stunned and still too high on Hellfire Vortex to care. As the humans celebrated their victory, Jenna grinned and turned to her team. "Well, folks, we did it. We've officially made the galaxy crave barbecue." In the days that followed, humans became the culinary stars of the galaxy. Alien species began experimenting with Earth recipes, trying to replicate the elusive taste of barbecue, while Hellfire Vortex became an underground sensation, traded on the black market for exorbitant prices. And as the saucy mare flew off into the stars, Jenna, Mac, Kara, and Timmy knew one thing for sure. When it came to food, humanity had just changed the galaxy forever. The galaxy, it seemed, had finally learned the true power of barbecue.
Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more original content. New chapters and standalone stories uploaded weekly.